the other situation. Now, if you are put into this situation, now this word, if, is very powerful. Because if the children start to speak in that language, if I am so and so, what would I have done? It would mean that the child is placed in that perspective. The child is probably placed in that situation and speak from that situation. So because of this, we can hear a few perspectives of if. And then the next one that I've given them is 因为. 因为 means the reason. Now, if I do this, then what would happen? And then they have to give a reason. So, throughout the lessons, they have to try to use these two sets of Chinese character. And because they are forced to use these two sets of characters, it forces them to think how they should articulate some of their thoughts. It was a bit difficult at the beginning, but slowly, the more knowledgeable ones actually help the less knowledgeable ones. So what we see here is that there was a slight expansion of vocabulary here when they are placed in such a situation. So I thought that was quite powerful for myself. The next one is the concept of truth. Okay. This targeted group was also the 9 years old. But we have decided to use it on the other end of the children. What is it, the other end? The first lesson that I share with you on self-control, I use it with the high ability group. This one was done by the other colleague. She used it with the low ability student. The low ability student, we are only looking at them able to give the reason why they think in that way. That means they are able to use the word 因为. Now you see that for this entire level, right, we're trying to impress upon them that when they say something, they have to give a reason. And they have to articulate that using their Chinese word. We cannot shortchange the children, especially the lower ability group. And we say that, okay, we don't need to teach them this. So we are trying out with them. So we use the word of truth. What is considered truth? Do you tell the truth? So we use this story called Winnie the Pooh, and then Winnie the Pooh inside they have this very a little bit more young for the younger ones, okay, to teach them about responsibility. So why is it important to be responsible? And in different situations when they are responsible, what are they trying to do? So slowly when we take them through, we are trying to tell them that by being truthful, you are being responsible to your friends, yourself, and your family. So it's the same thing that we do. The degree of the difference of degree from responsible to irresponsible, and then we give them different situations, and we just need them to actually tell us why do you think this situation is actually reasonable, so responsible or not responsible. And then the children learn the same skill. They agree, they disagree, they build on the ideas, and then there's thumbs up and thumbs down. And the session closed with telling them, with actually discussing with them about being truthful is the key thing to be responsible. This lesson was actually not very successful to both of us, is because we find that out of the 12 students that went through, right, probably only 5 or 6 could speak that language that we wanted. So we thought that maybe we need to go through a few more time before they actually could pick up some of this vocabulary. So, the learning outcomes for us, we find that some of the children were able to acquire the vocabulary that we have set out to them. We don't know what are the perspectives that they take. We don't know what are the other vocabulary that they have used. We want them to use. But along the way, we push the boundary to see whether they can come up with such vocabulary. We find that they show tolerance to their friends who have differing opinion. How do we know that they are tolerant? When you see them sitting in a very awkward position, they start moving around when somebody else is shared, but they cannot speak. because they don't have that ball with them, they have to just sit down and listen. And they take the ball and then they can speak, that's where they say that I disagree. So you can sense that they are tolerating differing views. Okay? And they exercise care when they share views. We can hear the little children saying that, I don't quite agree, but can you tell me your reason? So we actually have children beginning to speak a little bit in more of a respectful manner, which we won't see that during their playtime in the playground, and everything. And they're able to share their views responsibly. And I thought that they have discussed a little bit of the issue and they are able to verbalize their thoughts. But for the 9 years old, we find that we need to push a little bit more. Okay, so this is the part on I'm not quite sure whether time to share the video. Okay, I'm not quite sure whether the file can be read.
Are they able to show the video? Okay, never mind.
Sorry, the program may not support, but then it actually shows me sitting down with the children, going through the rules with them, and then taking them through. It's okay. Next time when it's able to support, we'll do so. Then I'll get Thomas to move on to the next segment.
Right, thank you, Jessie. So I hope all of you have some common understanding or some knowledge about P4C right now. Okay, so in P4C, we have two types of levels for accreditation. So P4C level 1 is the basic accreditation for P4C. So STU, Singapore Teachers Union, actually conduct the course every year, only once. Usually we conduct the course in September, but this time around, because in September we have our 70th anniversary in Singapore, so we have pushed back the accreditation course to November. It will be 21st to 24th November this year. And why must we have an accreditation for P4C? P4C lesson, you must actually have the concept how to use P4C in your classroom. And you must have this fundamental information and you are able to apply strategies across all levels and lessons. So that's why we need to have someone to accredit this level for P4C. And actually, the association to accredit this level 1 cert is called FOPSA. It's a Federation of Australia's Philosophy in School Association. So teachers who are able to pass the level 1 will be given certificates for level 1. This level 1 accreditation, you have to go through module 1 to 5. And after you go through the level 1 to 5, you have to submit an assignment. And what kind of assignment is that? You have to take a video of yourself applying P4C in your classroom. And you send this video to Singapore Teachers Union. After we have compiled everything, your lesson plan, your video, right? And we send to FOPSA for marking. There are teachers in the past who had failed this assignment and they could not actually gain the accreditation for level 1. So they have to redo it again, right? So it is an authorization to safeguard the standard of P4C, not only in Australia, but also the P4C group in Singapore. And at the end of the level 1 course, you will be able to explain, you're expected, to know how to explain what is P4C all about. And you will able to adopt and adapt P4C in your classroom across the range of subjects. And also you are able to equip with strategies to use in your classrooms. Last but not least, and you will also be a teacher facilitator, right, in the P4C classroom. And this is a program for the P4C level 1 course in Singapore that's in November. You can actually download the information from that particular web page. And it consists of 5 modules across the 4 days, right? The first 4 modules will be conducted by Dr. Philip Kemp, and the last module will be conducted by various lecturers from National University of Singapore and also National Technology University of Singapore, right? It's more towards the concept of Eastern philosophical traditions in ASEAN, right? If you could, you can also select modules to attend, but usually people will attend module 1 to 5 in one shot so that they could actually quickly submit the assignment and then get accredited for level 1. And with level 1 being completed, after you submit your assignment, you can actually proceed to level 2. And if you are equipped with level 2 cert, right, this cert is recognized in whole Australia. You can teach P4C in Australia or in your own country to your own teachers, your colleagues, right? And here are some pictures for the previous P4C level 1 course in 2014 and 2015. The person, the lecturer, you can see that is Phil Kemp. So in P4C lesson, we always sit in round circles. That's how we practice P4C. And with that, I will hand the mic to Jessie to do the conclusion for the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, I mean, really to conclude the whole presentation, from the very start, we need to have the strong belief that we must believe that the P4C will work. We must have a good understanding of what P4C is all about and how actually can it help our children in the classroom so that we know that in the future they can become active participants in the society. But at the same time, we also know that it is not easy because in order for this to happen, the key thing is teachers. How can we train the competency of the teacher? As you know that this requires accreditation because it's not everyone who can teach it. It means that after going through such a long, detailed learning, you have to actually start practicing it. And if you stop practicing it, you find it very, very difficult to do it. Because it's not like your normal day-to-day teaching class where you have tuning in of lessons, you development of the lessons, and then you conclude the lessons. It takes a lot to develop questions for the children to think deeper. It takes a lot out of you also to think deeper about certain concepts. And you also draw in your own social background of who you are. And together with this, you probably also need a team of people with you to work this out together. Because if not, it is a very, very tough and long journey. So for the P4C symposium to happen, where you see so many educators coming together, it is also a support that the Singapore Teachers Union is giving to the teacher to sustain the journey so that they can share with one another, how did you do it in your school? What is your practice like in your school? To learn from one another. So all in all, We must have a strong belief first. We must have the conviction to move on. We must have the skills to be equipped so that we can do the job. And last but not least, we must learn to share with one another as a fraternity. So I hope that this session is meaningful and useful to all of you. And if you have any question later, you can ask us. We have a Q&A. Thank you.